Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Kareem Talks. This is, I'm not going to say part three, although technically it is. We kind of went over a little bit on the second half, so we're just going to wrap it up here. And we still have to address that one question Aaron talked about, but I'll ask that after the presentation is done. So, Khadija, take it away.
Okay, so last thing I said was that there were people saying that, what about surviving white people? Zinga went on to say what she said. And I felt like I should make it extremely clear that, yes, our ancestors were raped and put through a number of horrifying things by white people. No, that does not give us, as Black people, permission to follow their example. We shouldn't want to be equal in devilishment. It will never be okay for someone to rape someone. Rape is worthy of death, point blank, period. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you try to make excuses for it, you're a rape apologist. You aid in 1 in 5 of Black women being raped in their lifetime because you don't want to acknowledge the wrong that is happening in your own community that you say that you love. Stop trying to bring up white people benefiting off of the system they built for themselves when we talk about issues in our community. If all the white people disappeared and it was just us Black folks, what would you do about the rapist? And if you answer, oh, well, we're going to deal with him, then why aren't you saying that now? Why aren't you dealing with him now so that 60% of Black girls aren't sexually abused before the age of 18? Your Black women and your Black girls are being sexually abused in your community, and you want to talk about what the white niggas is doing? You say that you love the Black community, but you all up in theirs. Like, that doesn't make any sense. We don't give a fuck about what they're doing. Comparing ourselves to white people is going to be our downfall. We have to stop acting like we weren't taught their nature. We are still seeing ourselves through the eyes of white supremacy, and under white supremacy, we want to be like the white man. No, not when God came and is trying to make us into himself. We can't keep thinking like this. Some of y'all got that Eldridge Cleaver syndrome where y'all see the demise of women as the rise of Black community. And we can't be out here acting like Eldridge Cleaver where we're for the upliftment of Black people, but not Black women. That doesn't make sense. Considering, and this may be a newsflash for some people, but Black women are Black people. And if you didn't know about Eldridge Cleaver, he practiced raping Black women in order to get ready to rape white women. The last thing I'm going to say, you didn't know that?
Yeah, because that's what's going on. That was going on. In order to rape white women in this grand scheme of, what is it, getting even, would you call it?
Yeah.
Getting even. That was a real thing. That was a real thing. And mind you, these are the people who are saying, like we have now Black Lives Matter, but in actuality, you don't really value all Black lives. That's real. It's a real thing. It's real.
Ooh. Oh, I'm going to need some heavy after this episode is done. Please continue.
So this is the last thing that I'm going to say before I go, is that I am not bashing Black men. I love y'all. I love Black men. And if I didn't love y'all, I wouldn't be saying this. Defending Black women and wanting her to not be abused is not bashing Black men. Speaking on the sexual assault of Black women by the hands of Black men is not dividing the Black man and the Black woman. Women speaking on their experiences of not feeling respected, honored, and protected is not white lesbian feminism. White women are racist to us and mock us too. Asking Black men to listen to Black women when we speak on our pain at the hands of Black men is not being a tool for the white man. Black women and Black men need each other. Right now, Black women need Black men to listen to us, to stop killing us, to stop sexually assaulting us, and to stop raping us. And if you have a problem with us using the voices that God gave us to share our pain and asking for you to hold yourself accountable, then you need to ask yourself, why? the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, all of us are suffering in a world that is going down. So we need one another, but righteousness and wickedness cannot remain together. We're going to have to recognize that righteousness and moral conduct is the glue that will make one brother and one sister unite with another. And with that, I'm finished.
Well said.
Okay.
Any closing comments? Oh, wait. Well, I feel like that question Aaron asked has pretty much been addressed already. I mean, because there are sisters who go through. I mean, I learned. I'll never forget going on Twitter and seeing I was this age, and I was that age, and I was seeing it from MGT, Vanguards. And seeing that it's not just the outside thing. This is happening close to home as well. And with some saying that there are brothers in ranks who are friends with those same abusers. And it's crazy to think. It's so crazy to think. We wouldn't think, no, not here. Not in the place of where we say the black man is God. Not here. But then when you see it's a reality, it's bad.
You know, what I've learned being here and being born in the nation, you gotta fight for your Islam while you in it. The minister said, I'm paraphrasing, I hate explaining him, but I'm paraphrasing. There's still people here that are still working out male chauvinism. There's still people here still working out, those things that, we don't condone. And, you can attest to this, there's people working out colorism. There's people working out sexism, misogyny, misogynoir. There's people who are practicing Islam instead of Islam. There's people who are taking what we have and in trying to fit
for their own,
that which they've been conditioned to think and trying to fit it into this thing and then try to justify it with, the messenger said. Actually, no.
Islam to shield their own dirty religion.
Their own dirty religion. And that applies, and that's not just applying, contrary to popular belief, when we say that, that's not just applying to Jewish people, that's applying to everybody. It's applying to our house, in-house. That is not something that we reserve for white people. That is a self-improvement as the basis for creative development. That's our base. Okay? That's what we're working on. We're battling with racism and sexism as black women. That's what we're doing. That's when we bring up the topic of intersectionality. There's a theme of intersectionality that says black women are in this system of racism and sexism at the same time, simultaneously. And that was
trifold for you guys because you're black women and Muslim.
Yes, actually. So it's 3 strikes against us, really. And it gets worse, actually, if you want to add a little colorism, a little point A under number 1 point. If you want to add in colorism, if you're darker, that attributes to it too. Because dark-skinned black women and light-skinned black women do not experience the same things in terms of dehumanization. If you notice, a lot of the women that Khadija showed were not light-skinned women.
They were all dark-skinned.
They were dark-skinned, maybe brown-skinned, if you say that, but definitely not light, bright, yellow. They just weren't. But that doesn't mean that they don't get anything. What they get, a lot of is fetishized. And which is still not cute. It's degrading. You're being downgraded and relegated to a sex object. That's gross. So it's still bad either way. So that, even to answer the question of, what are some things black women go through, we go through a lot. I did want to say that in terms of, because a lot of times people will say, well, where is this in actuality? Where is this, actually being played out? There was a case and I believe St. Louis. I want to say it was the Grafton-Field v. General Motors in 1976. And a black woman, Emma de Grafton-Field, and several other black women were suing this motor company for discrimination on the basis of race and sex. Problem was they threw out the case because they said, well, we hire black people and we hire women. They hired the black people in those industrial factory jobs, and the white people in those, or in the white women actually in those higher like secretary jobs or whatever. But what they failed to see was all the black people that they hired in those certain jobs were men, and all the white people that they hired, or all the women that they hired in the secretary jobs were women. And so black women really had nowhere to turn to, and they were just being laid off because they didn't fit in either mold. They didn't fit where the brothers were, because women don't do that kind of work. And they didn't fit where the white women were, because black women shouldn't be seen as a secretary out in the front with everybody. So in terms of a real case, in terms of real laws and real policies that are being made towards black women, you can't just split all the time being black and being women. You can't split that sometimes. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it's both and not either or. And that's where we run into it. A lot of times we're being asked, being black first. Yes, but at the same time, there's people within the black community who are holding these sexist attitudes that eventually get us killed. So even still, if we're being black first, we're still dying. So again, both and, not either or. We can't afford to do either or, which is why, and if you find out in the nation, we don't do either or. We're both and. We all are black, and plus we have separate classes. You see what I'm saying? So yes, we're black, and black man is God, all of that. At the same time, here's a class for sisters and a class for brothers. Because honestly, the gender piece has to be discussed. So we can't always split ourselves into two. And being in this world is sure that we really can't afford to split ourselves into two all the time. Because when we do, it's this constant struggle and battle between, okay, am I being discriminated because I'm black, or am I discriminated because I'm a woman? Okay, but then you have the white women who are in these, white feminist groups that don't like you because you're black. Susan B. Anthony did not like black people. I'm sorry, she just did. But then you have people in black power movements, except ours, just letting y'all know, but still problematic. Every organization is a little problematic, but our ideology was never to disrespect black women. It never has been, and never will be. But you still have those twos and fews who think they know better. But you have black power movements and people in those type of leaderships who are disrespecting black women and did not want to see them rise and wanted them to be subservient. So at the same time, while that's going on, you have white women who don't like us and the black women who don't like us. Now we're stuck in the middle. And that intersection. That's why it's called intersectionality, that theory of intersectionality. So when people talk about, oh, y'all making it a gender war, we're out here dying in the streets, actually, we're dying in the streets because the way that police handle us, it's very specific. It's very, very specific. A lot of times they'll resort to sexual assault of black women. They'll do a lot of groping and a lot of touching and just a lot of harassment that's very specific to our anatomy, our body. So they have certain ways of handling us. Even during slavery, there were certain things that they would do to us and they just wouldn't do to black men, and vice versa. But our struggle has always been interconnected with racism and sexism. Always has been. And there's a reason why, we can talk about racism and try to explain it and use domestic violence as a way, as an analogy. Why do we do that? Why can we easily do that? Why can we easily say, well, we need to separate because if a woman was being abused by her husband, she want to get out, then of course we want to get a divorce, we need to separate. Why can we easily make those distinctions or those analogies with race and gender so quickly, when we apply it to real life situations like racism and sexism, also we draw a blank. I don't understand that. But that's what we need to understand fully, that when Black women say we're tired on all fronts. All of them. Every last one. But again, we're not bashing men on this channel or others, because this is not a bashing session. In the same way you can always say, you know, Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that other lives don't, or Black pride is not white hate. You know, we can easily say that. Again, we can easily interchange this. Easily. In terms of that, of course, certain histories are a little more complex. It doesn't make racism the exact same way as sexism. But in terms of certain principles over power structures, we can make those analogies quite simply. So all in all to say, this is not a men bashing session. We love Black men in this house and in yours. But at the same time, because we love y'all, because we care so much, sometimes y'all need to spank. That's just is what it is.
Like a parent beating a child.
Like a parent. Sometimes you just need tough love. A lot of the time. And this is tough love. And definitely my favorite women's studies professor, Khadijah over here, has been giving y'all tough love. And we love to see it. But it's needed. And this idea that women have to coddle people's feelings, Black women especially, we have to carry everything on our backs and then coddle people who don't understand, or people who don't, want to get hurt by it. When it's our reality. Imagine dying from it. You don't want to get hurt your feelings. Imagine dying. Imagine being found in the dumpster or on the side of the road. Imagine that. But you wanted her to have a softer tone with you. And while I understand also being gentle with each other, at the same time, when you're at war, you don't have time to hold people's hands. I need you to be here right now. And that's where we at. That's where we are right now.
Well, to wrap everything up, because now we're on the 40 mark. Go ahead, Khadijah.
I just wanted to say, when she was talking about women in like the Black struggle, fighting for like Black lives, Oluwatoyin Salau, she was an activist. She was literally fighting for Black lives, and she was trying to find a way home, and that's how she ended up molested and murdered by a Black man. And when Nzinga was talking about how in Islam, like we're fighting for Islam in Islam, your baptism doesn't stop at writing your letter. Like you have to continue to work on yourself in order to get all of the white supremacist filth off of you. And that's why I personally feel like what I said can aid in that. Mm-hmm. Because white supremacy, Black power, that's not an interracial couple. That's
we don't believe in it.
Separation.
We don't believe in it. To wrap everything up, again, to everyone who will be witnessing these recordings, whether they be all together or separate, please actually listen to understand and not listen to reply. Because I know the initial response to all of these may not be pleasant. That is the risk I run with posting these. And I'm willing to post these because all of this needs to be said. Lost followers already. That's the compromise you have to make when posting true things. And believe it or not, this session has been taxing on me, listening to all of this, absorbing all of this. But it needs to be it needs to be expressed. And if I can use my format, my platform for people to express these things, to talk about these things, then that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you for that, by the way. There's not a lot of people who would do that and actually take time to listen. Definitely appreciate you doing that over your platform.
I pray that it'll be
Same.
the start of more of us as men just listening and not asking for a filtered version of what you're saying. Because sometimes we need it straight. I mean, that's real. But this is, as always, it's been enlightening. It's been a mind blown, and I pray that everyone who watches this and listens, if you're more into the audio side of things, I pray everyone who comes across this footage or the audio actually does learn something and is not quick to criticize the words that are being said, because it's not coming from a place of hate. It really isn't. Like, word is bond to Allah. If I felt it would be that, this episode would not be. And this is why I bought on who I bought on specifically, because anyone else may not have been able to deliver the same way. So with that being said, this has been another episode of Kareem Talks. DJ, thing is there. I'm your host, and I'm gonna go watch Avatar because I need something to counteract everything that I have just witnessed. So we'll have a wonderful Sunday. Again, happy Father's Day to all the striving fathers out there. And let's do better by our women. Peace.